Blessed Uprising family, greetings from the Culture Corner. We've been given Blessed Uprisings, and Egun Yemi has been talking about spirituality literally in the 1 minute time frame for the Instagram post. And so we felt like it just wasn't enough, it's bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And, we just want to sit down and try to give a better explanation or view of spirituality, especially from Egun Yemi, since she is leading the charge on the spirituality front for for the Culture Corner, the family, and everybody else. So we just want to give a chance.
Yeah, give a little more.
Give a chance. Give a little more. So everybody
because spirituality is an important thing, and it seems like, if I can say, the whole world is going through some kind of spiritual journey, or it's being talked about more than ever before. So it's important for people that are now coming into it, and people, that they learn exactly or know what spirituality really is. It's not like something that you can pick up and and say that that's spirituality.
Right, right. And hopefully, we can help people along on their journey if they thought about looking into spirituality, or started to have feelings, or something tug at them, like what is it? Because something will get you going in that direction. Maybe you can just wake up one day and be like, you know what, I want to be spiritual.
No, I think more
maybe
so
you can't, but
is what comes first, which is consciousness. That is I wake up one day and all of a sudden, I'm conscious. I want to know about everything, what happened in Egypt, what happened with us as a people, so we go through all these phases of consciousness, so that's consciousness comes first, spirituality comes after.
Right. Okay.
So,
See,
so after you become conscious, that's your first journey. And that goes on for years also.
Yeah, did that.
Yeah, and sometimes, some people get even stuck.
You can get stuck,
You can get stuck in being conscious, because the information, the knowledge is just coming, and you're just, you're there, and you tend to like the fact that you can really speak about everything, any topic. If somebody throw out Osiris, I'm like, and Osiris and Isis and it's good, but it's knowledge. It's not spirituality.
Knowledge.
Yes.
All right. So you can't wake up and just become spiritual. You can wake up and become conscious, which is step one. Step one, too. So we kind of rolled into, kind of what
we want to talk about. Yeah.
And even my first question, for Mommy to lead us, and I'm gonna call her Mommy and Egun Yemi, but because that's who she
I'm
is.
both.
So the first question is, how do you define spirituality, and what role does it play in your life?
How do I define spirituality? Spirituality, or I would say becoming spiritual, being spiritual. Being spiritual is something that becomes part of your life. It's an everyday journey. It's not something that it's just not something that you do sometimes. Spirituality means I'm aware. I'm aware of who I am. I'm aware of what I say, what I do. That's being spiritual. What I do, what I say, how I present and behave myself. Because in spirituality, it's like responsibility. And you take on that responsibility on your own. It's not like somebody say, well, you got to be responsible. That's the first set of feelings I think we begin to feel like, how can I save the world? And if I decide that that's what I want to be or want to do, then, which means, and you set out to do it. So now you have to start perfecting who you are. Changing a lot of things, doing more than you did when you was conscious. Because consciousness also rolls into your very first part of becoming spiritual. When you become aware of spirituality, sometimes people have a spiritual experience, you know, and it's like, you know, what was that?
Right.
You know? So, and anytime that happens, and I call it spirituality 101, when that happens, then you get to seeking. What was that? How was that? You know? So, I hope I answered the question. I think I answered half of it. Some of it.
Yeah, you did.
Pretty much.
What role does it play in your life, though?
Oh, that is my everyday life. Because spirituality is something that you do, you personally do. Because spiritual comes from inside. You know what I'm saying? So that's when you become very aware of who you are. So now that's where the responsibility comes in. So now you have to then know how to then present yourself. That's all I can say. How you present yourself,
Right.
because other people is gonna be looking at you, and that's your responsibility to show other people. Then you know you on your journey to spirituality. Your behavior counts a lot. What you say counts a lot.
Right.
Right.
Right. And I think you know, when you say that, you know, you have to, it becomes you, and people see that. And I think a lot of people see that when they see you, you know, and I'd be like, oh, that's my mom. And then people come down and they talk to you. And then they be like, oh, I love your mom. Like, oh, okay, yeah. I love my mom too. Love my mom too.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, mommy really does embody that and display that, because you know people just don't talk to you in any way, or people are very respectful. It doesn't matter who it is, you know, as soon as they come and they start talking to mommy, you know, they, you know, it's like they in front of Baba or somebody, or, you know, the priest, or, and they listen to what she says, and then be like, oh, your mom is so smart, and she's this and she's that, and I totally believe it, and I totally, see that as well, about mommy.
Yeah,
and so,
because spirituality or being spiritual is an inside job. It's an inside job. Just like I said, consciousness is an outside job. You get information from everywhere. You can go on Google and get conscious material. You cannot go and Google spirituality. That's something that's in here that you have to formulate. It's something that you do personally. It's personally between you and your spirit. That's when you start walking and talking with spirit. So, and as you begin to merge, then you would hear, can't do this, got to do that. So that's really the first beginning part of the spirituality. It comes from inside. The voice comes from in here. All right.
All right. Okay, so the second question is, how do you connect with your spirituality on a daily basis?
Ooh. I think it's just like I said. I can't say it's in spirituality. It's not like, well, okay, I wake up every morning, I say my prayers, I say my prayers before I go to bed, da da da.
But some people do that.
That doesn't make it spiritual. Because spirituality, being spiritual is being that all day. When you just wake up and say your prayers, yes, it's okay. I'm not saying don't do that.
Right.
But I'm just
maybe
saying,
that's not all. I'm not saying. I'm talking about the person that's not all they do. Maybe that's how they start their day.
that can be how they start their day.
Right.
Well, I have to speak personally. I am not the greatest prayer person because for me, I am that. I'm that walk in prayer. If anybody comes and talk to me, period, that's how I'm gonna talk. I don't care what you're talking about. I'll find a way to make that a lesson, a teaching session. I will end up talking about spirituality. So that's my everyday prayer. It's like my everyday meditation. There is not clips in the day that I am not being who I am, and even if, and that is not saying, oh, you can't be upset about something or you shouldn't be, because you're also human, you're also physical and spiritual. So you would have that interchange, but you have to always know who you are. So you come back to yourself and be who you claim to be. So that's how I have my days. Those are my days,
Yes, Lord.
I'm always talking about the same things all the time. Spirituality. I'm not speaking the words, but if somebody come and say to me, oh, well, my husband this, or my wife that, or whatever, I'm going to take the spiritual route to that. So that's what I'm saying, because then you have to, you're listening to the answer to what the question the person just said, or the complaint, or whatever. So you're always in that space.
Right.
One thing, these things roll into each other. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah. So basically, you saying every day you connected. You never. You're not disconnected. And then you got to come back into it every day. Soon as you wake up, it's on.
Yes.
When you go to bed, it's on.
Yes,
when you dream, it's on.
because when you come into it, you feel responsible. And I think everything that you need to know, everything you got to learn about being responsible, that comes to you. That's a spiritual experience right there, that when you come into spirituality, just like when you come into consciousness, consciousness flows into spirituality because you learn from people, yes, but something within you says, oh, read that book. Oh, you might hear about 10 books, but something say, read this particular book, or do this particular thing, so you would do that, right? But so that rolls into spirituality. You continue to take that direction. And as you see that the direction it's manifesting, it's growing, it's like you're hearing, well, don't walk over there, walk over here, So now you're saying, wow, I'm hearing this voice. And when I listen to it, it's always 100% right. And that's how you start getting your directions on what to do, what to read, because now you're going into esoteric knowledge. Esoteric means knowledge that is hidden inside knowledge. So that is a direction. It's a guidance. Right? So that starts your spirituality, because then you start reading things now that are not being said outside, you know? And that's why you need to have that connection with that spirit. So when you start reading things in the realm of spirituality, you don't get caught, because there's a lot of pitfalls in spirituality. Because then that spirit would say to you, yeah, that sounds okay, and it's okay, but don't touch that. You now you read about it, leave that alone. That's not for you.
Have you read some things? You just like read it and then your spirit is like, ooh, me.
You're right.
Like,
Because people come to me when I first started my walk, and some people think that I'm on a certain path, and they would bring books that I would never read. You know, there are things that even my own self would stop me, because I was enough scared of certain things, because I'm from the island. So I know a lot of the things that go on spiritually, because in everything there is good and there is bad, you know. So you have to stay clear of what is bad. So it's your spirit that's going to guide you through this path and keep you safe. Some people have maybe the tendency to prefer the other side, and I wouldn't say dark or light side, but it's just the other side, because there is two sides to everything. And some people, they don't mind that, you know, but you have to know who you are. That's why, you know, at the very beginning, you make that choice, you know. You make the choice of how you're going to walk, because, again, that's the you inside that you wasn't connected to all the time. So when you connect to that self tells you who you are. Know thyself, know thyself. So once you're introduced to that self, then that self guides you. You do the outer things, and that's the other part of you. Some people call it, you know, the inner child, you know, certain things like that. Depends on how far you are in your knowledge, your inner child, from other lives, other lifetimes, if you believe in that. So, and that's why, you know, like I said, spirituality is so deep and wide, because so is knowledge. Even right now, as far as consciousness is concerned, still hearing new things all the time. So can you imagine the spiritual realm, which is equal to the physical realm? So once you step in there,
so below.
It's as above, so below. So, you know, the same way as you walk in that physical walk, you have to be careful. You have to be careful of who you're dealing with, you know, who means you well, who don't. It's the same thing in the spiritual realms. You got to watch them spirit, because you don't know.
Right.
Right. So you got to
Sometimes when a bad spirit get on you, it's a done deal.
It's a done deal.
Done deal.
Because sometimes getting the correct help with that
That's
is
hard.
It's hard to find.
It's
hard to find.
Hard to find. Oh my, so okay. So this question just kind of popped into my head while you was talking about you know, being spiritual and being on your walk and stuff and consciousness. So I want to ask about chakras. When you know, aligning your chakras, where does that fall in?
As far as spirituality.
Yes, because it is important, yes.
Very.
So, is it something that you're doing along your journey? Should your chakras be aligned by the time you reach a certain part of your spiritual walk? You know, like.
As far as chakras being aligned, I think something traumatic would have to happen to really throw your chakras offline. There was a lot of things that is said that is just, some things are said to, they're sold. You know what I mean? Come to me and I will align your chakras type thing, Right. So, because when you enter spirituality, you try your best to be your own doctor. Yes. That's one of your attributes that you have to pick up. You have to heal. If you cannot heal anybody else, you and your spirit inside gives you the things that you should do. We don't all do it, because when it comes to, certain things, it's kind of hard to do. That's why, it's a journey. But trying to answer your question, to get back to it fully. Your question was the chakras, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. What I would say is that each individual walks their own path, because you don't know what that soul or that spirit did in past lives. They might have done all their chakra work in past lives. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, I must have done mine in past lives, because that was not a thing that I did, per se. I didn't know anything about chakras when I had my third eye open, and it was not something I learned. It's not a book that I read. It's nothing that was my first introduction to what's out there. I just heard the voice said, "Oh, go and lie down." And I was feeling, funny. Yeah. So I said, so I went and lied down, wanting be obedient. I went and lie down on the bed, and it got to the point where I wasn't controlling my movements, and I moved until I got into the fetal position, and then I began to feel this sensation here. And of course, the first thing you want to do is touch. Okay. I was told, don't touch it, don't touch it. So I'm like, I'm really trying to keep it and then I couldn't even move my hands to touch it, So I didn't. That happened. And then after that, I used to go to this African bookstore, and I saw a picture of this Egyptian woman. Don't know her name or anything like that. And she was standing up, looking straight ahead, and there was a beam of light coming straight through her third eye. So when I saw the book, I bought it. I said, that seems like what happened to me, So I bought the book. And when I went to the bookstore with it, they started talking about, third eye and things like that. And I was like, and you know what? I did say, wait a minute, that happened to me. Mm-hmm. Everybody looked and went on with their conversation. That's why I say everybody's journey is different. You know what I'm saying? So with this chakra open, when it opened, it was like a whole different world. Right. I'm here, but I'm not here. Mm-hmm. I'm walking around, I'm going to work, taking care of my kids, but I know I'm not here. So my mom was like, all them books that you're reading, all them things that you're doing, you best be careful. right? But I knew that I
that
was,
mom
yeah,
Oh.
yeah. But I knew I was fine because, you know, I know how my spirit was talking to me and telling me. And so, when you're fine, I really didn't do anything wrong as far as I know, well, which even though it's not a right and wrong thing. But, with that, no, I didn't. I did chakras long after that, and I really did not do anything to align anything. I learned what they are, yeah, and what it told me, what the chakras told me when I came into that teaching is that it was like Jacob's ladder to me. At the beginning, the red chakra, the red, that's the world. That's where you are right now. You're living in the world, right? You're doing everything for the world, for money, for sex, for whatever the world, in the physical world, right? And then as you go up into the chakras, you find that it's all a different step inside of spirituality. That's your walk, right? But it's not over. When you get here, you still got to go here, and then you got to go there. So it's like I said, the chakras, I had walked through them sometime before, and not. The other thing is, Buddhism has the chakras in a different way, and there is 10, but they walk you through it in a different sense of things. I think the way it's walked through now, when you walk through the chakras now, it's sweet, it's, it's almost not real. To me, because if you don't have the experience to go along with each chakras, then you don't know where you're going. So nobody should tell you, oh, after you know what they're supposed to do, and sometimes even what they're saying they're supposed to do, and don't get me to say exactly what all the chakras says and does, because it's just, I did not walk that walk, but I understand the walk. And that's why I would say the same thing goes for meditation. Chakras, meditation, yoga. They were, never something that I was totally interested in. When my spirit, but I see, I follow one thing anyway, and that's my spirit. In a nutshell, that's my spirit. Spirit does yoga. If it wants you to do yoga, you will do yoga, because when you do connect with your spirit, you would find yourself twisting and turning, and because it's, like I said, it's a personal thing. It's not a group thing. Who is directing your path? Somebody else?
Right.
The spirit that is in you?
Right.
In your consciousness?
Right.
Because if you don't get it in your consciousness from your spirit, then you're just doing things.
Then you're just doing something.
Yeah, you're just doing things. So spirituality and being spiritual is personal. I can't walk the way you walk, and you wouldn't walk the way I walk. So it's not something we can
bounce off and be like, okay, yeah,
No.
you're going the right way.
Doesn't go like that. Right, exactly. This is the hard part of this journey. Takes you into your crossing over in your life. How you journey in this last spiritual walk, it says how you're going to pass and where you're going to go. So this is very important. That's why it is how it is. And, Creator is making sure you get the guidance direct. This is a direct guidance. This is not somebody told me, or this is what we should do. Nobody did it like that. Jesus didn't. Buddha didn't. All of the people that did ascend from the Bible to wherever, even into the Muslim religion, you have to have that lonely walk with that spirit. Then, because the spirit knows you from creation, so you have to trust that, and follow that. Yeah, you could go and do other things, because I did. But when I'm done, I come right back
Be right here.
to where I belong.
Well, at least you came back, because sometimes people don't come back. I'm just saying, people don't come back.
Yes, and I've been a lot of places and I came back. So, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying.
Because you did say it's lonely. You did say it's a long journey. You have to have, discipline, of course. And, if you're just not ready for those things, not even say ready, or if you can't change and adapt and embody those things, then the walk.
But
you
how?
may not come back.
No, because one thing, it's a decision. It's a decision that you make with yourself, and when you say yes to that, you can't turn back. Even if you want to, you will find that you can't, because you go off, you do something else, but then you come right back, because you get that pull. You get pulled back in through something, might be some experience, bad or good,
Yeah.
You might have a dream, you might have some trauma, and then you realize, see, I should have, or could, right, that type of thing.
Oh, okay. Okay. So the chakra thing. Okay. So now that you explain, because I kind of always wonder, because I feel like I'm working on my chakras now.
But
At least I believe I am.
Right.
I believe I am.
And that would be my question. Working on it, how? What is the actual work? Yeah, that's it's hard to pinpoint. That's what I'm.
Dang it.
I'm like, okay.
Well.
You're learning about it.
Yeah,
you're learning about them.
it. I'm learning about it, and
and that's
and then as I learn about
knowledge. You got to.
the chakras, then it's like, okay, if do I have some of those, okay, then I guess I just look inside myself and be like, okay, physically me, or mentally, emotionally me, how do I get me aligned? I can't really explain it,
Right.
but
Because Because
So,
again, right. Again, that's what you were told, that you have to align your chakras. You have to meditate. All those things. Those are ways. And do you need to go that way? You're not sure. You're right.
I don't know.
Right. So it's not until you have learned all what you need to learn about the chakras, all what you need to learn about yoga, because yoga is so in depth that nobody is doing the real yoga on today. Nobody's doing it. Because yoga is a discipline. When you become that spiritual yogi type thing, it's not something you take your mat and you go sit down and you spin this way and you spin that way and you say, I don't know exactly what it's supposed to do when you do it, you know, because I've never done it. So I can't really say it does or doesn't, you know, because again, I said everybody has their own way of doing something that would really break them out into
Right.
the introduction of spirit or themselves, you know. So, but it's not something I've ever done, you know. But you would know. First, you have to do it. You have to learn about it. You have to learn. Sometimes when you're learning about something, it automatically opens up itself to you. You know, it's like reading any book. You can read a book, and it don't open itself up to you. You know, because sometimes what somebody get out of it, you wouldn't. You know, you're more like, where did you see that? I didn't see that in that book, but that was open up to that person, because that's probably what they need, and maybe you would have to go to some other book to get what they got. You know, so that's why it's personal. It's really personal. What is not personal is your consciousness. Knowing when you need to know things, you group, you talk with people, you try and understand, you hear things that, you know, you're like, wow, okay, you know, I can't wait for that to happen to me, you know, and things like that, because you're hearing things, you're learning things, you know. Once you stay steadfast and you don't jump, that doesn't happen to me, so, you know, I don't even know if it's real, because I remember when I was there, you know, I was spiritual Baptist, still am, and spiritual Baptists teach you about spirituality. And then, so when I was younger and in it, I was looking at the older women when they get into the spirit, and you know, they dash around and get on the floor and do it. And I'm like, now that's fake. You know, I'm like, that is so fake. You know? Right? Why? I didn't experience it. I'm looking at it, so I'm like, they're just doing that. That's not real. Right? Till it happened one day. Because I always say, I was like, okay, so when you do all that, you know, you dance around, you're like, oh my gosh, you probably like, oh. Now what? Now what do I do with that? You know? That used to be me. I'm there, but I'm not having the experience until, like I said, got the experience, and then you know it's real. So that's what I'm saying. Personally, nobody can tell me, you know? You can't teach me to say or absorb that to the point where I say, yes, it's real. Like I will go tell somebody else, oh, I saw them on the floor, and I saw them doing this and that. You could say all that, but you really don't know if it's real or not. And I straight off from the jump said, it wasn't real. You know, and I nobody can tell me any different. So in spirituality, experience. Experience is the key. So then you know what you know, what you know. Nobody don't have to come and tell you. You know. If anybody asks me anything, it's because I know. I had the experience. I don't care what it is. The experience from whatever energies that comes down, talk to you, tell you things. You have all that. Did a spirit just walk into my room? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, there it is, you know. And at that, before you grew to have that happen and not be afraid, you know, I would have been screaming.
Right. Gone.
Oh, please, you know. But after a while, I'm like, I don't know, why you coming in my room?
Like, what do you want?
Right.
Really?
You know, person. Nobody didn't come and tell you spirit walks. And, you know what I'm saying? That spirit could come in your room and bother you and all of that.
Yeah, nobody told me. I had to go through that. And I'm like, Mom, Mom,
Yes.
what do I do?
Right. So then you learn. And then you learn
It's real.
it again from the elders, because they could tell you that all day. But when it happens, because I grew up with my grandmother saying to me, oh, when they come, you just tell them, you just curse them, you tell them, you know, they can't be here, and, you know, she's saying what. But, you know, it didn't mean anything to me when she said it. And when you remember, when it's actually happening. Then it takes a minute before your grandmother's words come back to your head.
You're probably like, dang.
And then you're like,
okay, don't wait for him to come back. Come on back now, I'm ready. Come back now, I'm ready. I already know what to do. That's why I said, after I called you, I was like, oh, all right.
yeah. So let's get to our questions.
Like at 42. But no, it's fine.
Oh, it's fine.
I think so.
Yeah.
So you answered the question. You shared an spiritual experience. So while you were sharing your experience, and you said, I think you said, oh, that hasn't happened to me. You know, sometimes I be saying that to myself. I'm like, man, I wish that happened to me. I don't know why. I don't know why, but I'm like, dang. Oh no, that hasn't happened to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm now even just getting to the point where I actually have dreams. You know, and remembering that I had dreams. I probably could have been having dreams, but
Yeah,
you
you
know,
were,
I just
but you just
don't
didn't
remember. But now I'm just now getting to the point where, you know, when I go to sleep and I have a dream, remembering it, that's still a little hazy, but I know
that you dreamt.
I know that I dreamt. And,
but I think sometimes I feel like dreams are a gift. You know, because I don't
be talking about dreams.
I don't dream. I can interpret them, but I can't. I don't hardly dream.
I don't even have a dream to call you and be like, Mom.
You could tell me,
you know,
right? I can tell you something about the dream, but then when I dream, what I dream, I only dream real things. If it happened in my dream, it's either gonna happen in the physical, you know, or it's a warning. So, but other than that, no, I don't dream. Maybe I'm dreaming just like you said. You know, you're dreaming, but you don't remember.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, no. Right, yeah, because it either happens or it don't. I don't want something that is not happening. I didn't want anything, but you know what I'm saying? It's not a want. It's being aware. When you become spiritual, you have to be aware of everything. When somebody's talking, you're so aware of what they're saying, sometimes they don't even know what they're saying, because what they're saying, you're hearing something totally different. Because, yeah, you get to hear and you get to feel in a very strong way. You could be talking, well, I think when you talk to people on the phone, then you're more aware of what they're saying, right? Oh, he's saying this, he's saying that, but
Are you talking about
I'm not anybody talking on the phone. When you talk on the phone with somebody, unless you're totally just not conscious, you know?
No, maybe.
Well, that's part of being spiritual. You become aware of what people saying, what they do, every move. Sometimes you're aware of how the breeze is blowing. Everything is becoming like becomes a lesson. Because you could walk outside and and the breeze is blowing, then you start looking at the trees because now you're aware of the trees. The wind is blowing the trees, and then you look further and you see some birds, and so you're quite aware of. And because you are looking at those things in that way, it brings about a feeling. It brings about a connection to all of what nature is. You know. So you aware of because you don't see the breeze, but when the breeze is blowing, you have a whole story in your mind when the breeze blow, and you start just interacting with things that I guess normal people wouldn't do, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right.
And but remember, when you have to bond with nature, if you want to bond spiritually, you have to bond with nature, because in nature you have to somehow make that connection, you have to make that connection. So this way, everything would be good to you, is in nature you begin to respect life, and you have to respect life, and you could look at it and you could say, wow, life is good because, wow, look at this and look at that, and that point where you're gonna hug a tree or something like that. That is just it's a vibe. It's a frequency. You're just feeling everything in nature, like you all became one to some degree.
And I think I was thinking, nature itself is just the one thing that really doesn't get out of alignment, from the day it's a little seed in the ground until it grows. I mean,
you get a tree.
It don't waver as far as nature and the earth and the movement and all that. Nature on the planet is the one thing that's just steadfast,
and that's
staying aligned.
That's why spirituality takes a long time, because at one point you really wasn't paying attention to nature because you was in a different school, you were learning something else, and then all of a sudden one day you find yourself being attached to looking at things that are not even there. There is a way that you see. There's a way that you see things. I mean, I don't even know how to, there's a way that you see things. And it dawned on me one day, and it wasn't too long ago, it was about a year ago. I'm looking through the window and I'm looking at the trees. I was in Tennessee, looking at the trees, looking at everything. And I'm just staring at it, and staring at everything. And all of a sudden, it's like the trees and everything just kind of went away. The apartments that was there, everything just went away. And it's like I'm seeing something else, but I'm not seeing it. I'm more feeling it, And I'm like, wow, that's life. It was like a light, not a light that would blind you, but it was like a light. And I'm feeling just so, it was like, yeah, you feel beautiful. You feel like, oh my God, that's nature. Oh, that kind of way. And I'm like, oh, it was like that I had to go write it down, So these are experiences, so that's what you look for on your spiritual walk. That's what you're looking for. All your experiences then becomes your growth. They become your growth spiritually. All right.
So I'm gonna ask you one more question, Mom. I don't know, cause you really kind of
I
hit the, boom.
I think so.
Yeah, hit the majority of the questions. Um, but okay, so I'm gonna ask you this last one because when I wrote it down, I was like, I wonder what Mommy thinks about this one. So, how long have you been on your journey, and do you feel, you are almost complete, or you still got a ways to go, or like where do you think you are in the, I guess in the grand scheme of it all, if there is a grand scheme
There
of
is
it
a grand
all,
screen.
you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Absolutely. Yes.
you know,
There is a
where do you
grand
think you
scheme.
are?
One thing I said to myself very loudly when I learned that time, like I said, yo, my journey takes me into many, many different places. I've done everything from Buddhism. I'm Buddhist, I'm Catholic,
Spiritual
I'm
Baptist.
spiritual Baptist, I'm Catholic, you just name it. I'm Orisha.
Keeper of the
Okay?
flame.
Keeper, right. So when I became a keeper of the flame, which is more like a fraternity, that's when I learned about ascension and what ascension means on your journey. And so when I first learned about it, and I went to my first conference, and when we were eating, I sat around the table with people, of course I don't know, but when I got to the table and they're talking, for some reason I just bust out like, I don't know what everybody wants, but I know I want ascension because I don't want to come back here. I didn't, because I never liked it here. Never liked it. Didn't feel like I needed to be on planet Earth. Didn't want to be on planet Earth. It was just, nothing was really so good about it. Okay.
Ma, you like that character. You remember we saw the cartoon Soul, and the soul didn't want to come back down.
No, because if you only remember somehow how it was before you got here, you just don't like,
Like, I'm good.
no, you don't like it, So, but you always have to stay aware and know that everything down here now is a test, because you know it's for real. So you have to get serious. It's for real. And if I say I don't want to come back, then I have to watch how I walk, what I do, what I follow, because if not, I'll be right back. And that's not what I want to see happen. So I have been walking this walk, and first I went into conscious, ness, behavior, black power, everything was black. Back to Africa, anything, everything that I go into and read, oh, I'm on it. Oh, I'm on it. I would never put on regular clothes. It has to be a African clothes, and I tie my head African. I'm going to work in it. I didn't care who didn't, went through that, and that was in the 90s, like 94. And my first conscious thing was Rastafari. And I'm still Rastafari until today. I could never be not Rasta. So Rasta brought about consciousness for me, right? 1993, 94, right? And I left there and went on to many other religions. I was somewhere within myself. It's like I had to experience them all so I could know. That was a different kind of knowing. So it's been years. You know, it's been many years. And at this point where I am now, when I got very sick, right, you know, that was like a shock to me because I was very sick. But for me as a spiritual person, I have always said, I'm not going to die, I'm not going to get old, and I don't want to get sick. I'm not going to. So I had myself set to be a certain way, you know, that those were my words, you know. I watched my words. And when I got sick, I realized that okay, you could be sick, you know, because, I mean, every time I get sick to some degree, I can always heal myself. I can heal myself. This particular one, I think I tried everything.
Yeah.
And it wasn't
You was
going away.
trying.
I even called in a spiritual healer, right? Because it was getting out of hand. And eventually that got fixed. And I thought that was my time of thinking about ascension. Because now I said to myself, well, I called it. I said, you know, I'm going to ascend. And I got a book. I have books that come through the mail. And I'm sick, right? I'm at your house. I'm lying down on the floor now. And when the book came, it said, you are slated for ascension.
What?
That's what I said. I was like, what? No. I was like, no, I'm not finished. No, why? You know?
What the?
Do you know? That's what it said on the outside. I didn't read it. Put it aside. Did not read it because I didn't want to know. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go through resurrection. Right, see? That's how spirit. And it was the month of April, which is Jesus's resurrection. It's Easter. Because resurrection comes before ascension. Right? After Jesus was resurrected from the dead, then ascension came. So I was like, oh, I'm going through resurrection. I don't want to hear about ascension. That would give me more time. So I set myself, I put out all my candles. I laid down at my altar. Remember I said I was going to take 3 days of fasting. Did that, and then I went to New York. I went to the church in New York. It was a Rasta church, right? And I went to the church. I put on all my white. I was just there. It was like me moving away then from my illness. I had to resurrect. And I did that, right? And I've still been fighting. I still fought with it for a long time until I found out what was really wrong, remember? And then I went and had the pacemaker put in, right? But then when I did read, I went back and I read the ascension thing, and it wasn't exactly what I thought it was. But at that time, because I was ill, I just couldn't do it, you know? So when I remember, I said, oh. And when I learned then exactly what ascension is, because it is your last journey. That was your question. Then that's the last thing before you fly out. But then it means now You have to learn other things. It's called ascension, but then before you go through that last process, you have to initiate. So now you're going to have to learn other things, higher things, different things. So I was like, okay. And remember, I keep saying to you, I need initiation. I have to go somewhere so I can have my initiation. And I was going to go do it at the Baptist church, right?
And then you was going to go down to Florida to see Baba.
To see Baba. I couldn't figure out which religion is going to take me to this initiation, this last process. So yes, I feel like I'm on my last leg. And I feel this last leg has to take me into my my purpose. So I know I have time. I thought I completed my purpose, but obviously I didn't. So this is my last leg. And I'm at the age to say that, you know, but I want to live for as long as I can. But again, I want to live as long as I'm able to complete my journey fully. That's what's important to me, so I don't have to come back to beautiful, wonderful planet Earth.
Wow, I can't believe you even say that.
I love, but
I can't believe
I want to be something else. I don't want to be a human being where, because there is a lot of suffering here. And it's just when you come here, you have to go through these set of things to exit here and not come back, or else you get thrown right back in the pot. So, yeah, go on back and fix that, because Jesus said it. You are going to have to balance every jot and tittle before you can come where I am. So all who thinks that he's just died for them and they're going to just go to heaven, it doesn't work that way, so.
Crap.
Well, you see,
Oh my
but
God.
there is so much you learn in between.
I can take them on. I ain't tripping. I'm just
Because
saying.
then you have to learn your divine. You have to learn that you're a god, or not a queen. A queen is earth. You're a god, you're a goddess. You divine, You are the God. You run this. You're sovereign, you're a sovereign being. All those things. When you learn those things, then earth doesn't really bother you. It really doesn't, because then you're in control, you know what I'm saying, of what you decide to do, because things will always happen. Every day of your life, things would happen, something would go wrong. But then when you understand, well, it's my job to fix it, to get out of it. If something is even wrong with somebody else, you're trying to fix everybody, but that's just, one of those things. But when you learn how to navigate in this space, it's not a bad place. But I don't want to come back anyway. So.
My mom's almost done, everybody. This is what my mom says. She's almost done.
I'm almost done. I know I'm almost done. And I'm not, it's not something that I'm
and as you
scared
say that,
of, afraid of.
You would think that you'd be like, what the? Oh, heck no. But because I know mommy and, I feel like I'm your, because sometimes I just really feel like it's my job to help you in whatever that you're doing. That's why I need to go here. I'm like, okay, mom, let's go. I need to do this. Okay, mom, let's do it. Whatever it is. Because I know you're on a journey, and I just know that. So in every the world and us, your children, you know, we're not it. You know, it's not about us, you know. And individually as a person myself, you know, it's not about Kalia. You know, it's not about, you know, Big Tina, Mommy, you know, for real, in the grand scheme of things.
In the grand scheme of things, it has to be about you.
It's about me.
It has to be about you
So
because
when you
you're
say
the one.
that, I'm like, okay, well, let me help you right along.
Right.
Jesus freaking Christ.
Did she just say that? Yes, she did. Yeah.
And
But
this is
it's about-
spirituality, people. This is spirituality. I feel like maybe, I don't want to say at its finest, but maybe at its core or its truth
At
or
its core.
you know what I'm saying?
Because yes, everything is, you know, you have the light side of it and you have the hard side of it. There is because it's not an easy road.
It's not an easy road.
It's not. It's not. And when I got sick, I realized a lot of people say they can this and they can that, you know, and call themselves whatever. And then, you know, when you give them the opportunity to be or to do what they say they can, you know, and I was like, okay, I guess it falls again in my life. Yes, I gotta fix me, you know, I gotta fix me, and with the help of everybody, because if you had maybe left it to me, I would have fall out and just die. Know what I mean?
No.
Yes, because y'all were the ones that made me go to the doctor. Remember? I was passing out every...
Oh, yeah. Small Tina was on it, you know.
Yeah.
I, too, was like, okay, well, Mommy's going to heal herself. It just didn't seem like it was...
It wasn't working.
It wasn't working out.
It was not working
like,
at all.
Mommy's not doing something. That's what I was telling myself. But then Small Tina was like, oh, no, Mommy got to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
And, you know, good thing that they was on that route and got you to the doctor.
Yeah. But
I
see,
think you needed that to give you the time that you was talking about.
Yeah, but the experience of, can't say the experience of dying, but then when you pass out, it's like, that's it, you're gone. And that's what the doctor said, you may not get up one day. You know, and I was like, okay.
Oh my God.
You know? Yeah.
Those were rough days.
Yes.
Couldn't even leave.
So,
Right. But, yes, Mom. So, okay, so, we're about to close out. So,
Yeah.
Ma, I don't know if there's anything, because as we talked, you know, you talked about spirituality, you know, in your journey and in your time and your experiences or whatever. So for the people that's watching, that will watch, you just want to say anything more about spirituality, you know, kind of on the, I don't want to say the broader sense or the general sense, like kind of how you giving it on the Blessed Uprising.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Just.
Well, what can I say about spirituality that I think I'm always on the hard side, because that's how I went through everything, on the hard side. So for me, I would say when you decide to now, and I'm not sure if it's a decision that you just get up, that people just get up and make. I don't think so. You have to feel that call and you have to answer that call. Know that when you answer that call, then it's serious, because you can want to pull back, but it's not going to happen. You're going to get pulled in all the time. So know that it's a serious journey. It's a long journey. It's something I think it could be a journey that you can enjoy. I don't think it's anything bad per se, because you learn so much. You learn about people, you learn about yourself most of all. So understand then that this journey is a journey for you to clean yourself up. It's not about anybody else, anybody that you with, anybody that you know. Everybody have to handle their own stories. This is your story. When you reach to spirituality, you have to give that up. It's between you and the spirit. Hand in hand, you have somebody to walk you through. And I think at some point, I'm going to say this just to say it, all through my spiritual journey, and I'm talking more than 20-something years, close to maybe 30 years. Sky is 36. More than 30 years. I see where in the length of the time that it took me, I can hope that the younger generation, because they would know more, and they would go through spiritual experiences, because like the young children that are coming in now that are star seeds and whatever else, they coming in with all eyes open. They're seeing things. Right. And that was written in the Bible, that out of the mouth of babes and suckling would come, those lessons. So I just think that everyone should understand their particular journey. And when you say, yes, I'm ready, call me, that's it. It's over. You said it. You only got to say it once. And once you say it once, that's it. You're on your journey. And just stay strong. Don't move. Don't move, because it'll just take longer. So, and I think the people that are doing this now, that are coming into spirituality, the younger people still, I think that they have it's a good time. They're in a good space. Right now, everything is kind of wide open for them. And I think we are in a time where things are accelerated. So I don't even think we have 30 years to get to the right place. And so I'm depending on the people that are coming, yes, the younger ones that are coming after us, that been through all of this, that they will understand what they are being called to do. It's a cry for, for humanity, and I think that is the responsibility of those that are coming behind us. So that's all I can say. I'm not sure I answered your question.
No. You definitely answered answered the question. And so on that note, we like to wish our family and our tribe and our community
a blessed uprising, peace, love, joy, abundance, prosperity. Now go and conquer every day. Every day, all the time. Blessed love.